on, everybody? I said we was gonna go ahead and do a marathon um of Nicholas Brooks, and we're gonna get it going. Y'all make sure y'all come in and hit that like. So make sure you guys go check him out. He's an attorney, a California attorney. He has been here in the LLC and has joined us on an interview and had a discussion. And we was just honored to have him come up and kind of give a breakdown on particularly the lawsuit that the Macrons filed against Candace. Candace, you have court. April 28th, girl. She too busy catching other cease and desist letters. She's too busy catching cease and desist letters, and she's not studying anything going on with this lawsuit at all. She thinks that this is gonna just get dismissed. Like, girl, no. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? Aaron is up in here. Calls Candace a traitor to America child. They've been traitors. Candace says she wants to go to Russia. We're gonna help you pack up, Candace. We will help you pack, and you can go to Russia. Goodbye. We'll sit your ass over there in a hot minute. Girl. You know, you think going to the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, her being an X-Men and alien and all, she can just port over there. Candace, no one will stop you. Oh, what's going on? S5 says no pressure on C. I just put it on because I would get sidetracked and forget. No, you good. You good. We're not going to be too long because I do want to do a live stream for some Candace stuff. Y'all, oh my God. I was tagged in on a video that Nicole Arbor did over here on X, the Jelly Files. What is going on with that? It's so much happening. It's so much happening. So we're going to get into this. I think, let's see, because he has a lot of videos in this, a few that I wanted to see that I missed out on. Let's see here. So I think we're going to start with the motion to dismiss because that hearing is coming up on April 28th. Uh-oh.
California.
Hold on a second. Something's going on with my headphones. Hold on one second, y'all. That hearing is coming up. So I want to make sure we get this one in for sure.
California attorney.
What's going on with my headphones? Oh no. Can you all hear me? I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Look at that, Megan. Shout out to my mods.
Attorney.
No, this isn't working.
And today we're doing.
Y'all, I'm trying to figure out why my sound is my headphones aren't working. Hold on one second. I'm gonna get this ready so that we can check this out. Button. I wanted to make sure you guys try to. Oh God, it keeps disconnecting. Once we get to the video, I'll mute it and reconnect it from there. But either way, we're gonna go ahead and get into this, and we're gonna check out a few of his videos where he goes into some of the segments of, you know, the is going to be on the motion to dismiss filed by Candace's attorneys. So they'll be making the argument, say, hey, this is dismissed because we don't believe that it should be here in this state. We don't feel that this court has jurisdiction, blah, blah, blah. Candace, the alien, Cadence Karen, already said that she defamed them in Tennessee, you know, because of reasons. But they're doing that to reset the clock for the timely filing limit. Yeah, they're trying to reset it. And then if they, you know, if the Macron's attorneys, hopefully are smart enough not to fall for this whole nonsense and buffoonery, because Candace's attorneys have played around for months, asking for extensions for word limits consistently. Every single time they needed to do a response, They needed an extension for a word limit. Like we need, you know, an order granting us approval to submit this a little late because we need to add extra words and we need a couple more pages. Like, what the hell? They have played around with this lawsuit for a minute. And they pushed the lawsuit, like the hearing could have been done last year, but they pushed it back. Each time they asked for an extension, they at least asked for an additional 1 to 2 weeks every single time they filed a response. And then, of course, you have the right to respond to their response, and this back and forth. It's ridiculous. So this whole thing has been pushed out to April 28th because Candace's attorneys can't figure out how to give a response using the actual word limit set forth by court rule. You know, because all three of them went to law school, and all of a sudden they don't know how to type a response. You can't make this up. So now we're here. What's going on, No Reply? How you doing? Oh, I got your email. Y'all, we got Tucker Carlson on a whacked out Mickey Mouse. Oh my God. Cracked out Mickey Mouse. I was showing the Candace live. It's gonna be funny. Shout out to all of you all. I appreciate you guys. It's good to see you guys. I appreciate you all support up in here. Let's get to it. Y'all ready? We're going to go ahead and get into this. So he's going to go over the motion to dismiss in this video, and then we'll check out a few more. And then I'm going to do a whole separate live on Candace because we got a lot to watch over there. Good grief. All right, let's get to it.
Digging into Macron v. Owens, now that I finally have all the moving papers on Candace Owens' motion to dismiss. This is about jurisdiction, time limits, and whether she can avoid discovery entirely. French President Emmanuel Macron and First Lady Brigitte Macron sued Candace Owens in Delaware over her Becoming Brigitte series and related posts. They say she pushed wild claims about Brigitte's identity, their marriage, and their integrity, all to drive attention and profit. Procedurally, here's where we are. The Macrons filed a complaint, then an amended complaint with more detail. Owens responded by filing a motion to dismiss the amended complaint, supported by a detailed brief. The Macrons then filed an opposition to that motion, and Owens followed up with a reply brief. That full motion to dismiss package, motion, opposition, and reply is what we're analyzing today. The amended complaint says Owens told her audience that Brigitte was actually born male, that she's in fact her older brother, Jean-Michel Treneau, using a stolen identity, and that the Macrons committed identity theft, fraud, even incest, all tied to CIA-style MKUltra conspiracies and violence against journalists. The Macrons allege those claims are categorically false. In her motion, Owens asked the Delaware court to dismiss her personally for lack of jurisdiction, strike parts of the amended complaint as improper, declare the claims time-barred under a French 3-month deadline, and kick the case out of Delaware on forum nonconvenience, arguing France, or at least her home base in Tennessee, are more appropriate forums. Owens also wraps this in First Amendment language, casting herself as an independent journalist, giving opinionated political commentary about public figures. The message to the court is this: this is not just about defamation. It's an attempt by foreign leaders to punish American speech. Before Delaware can touch the merits of this case, it has to clear a threshold issue. Does this court even have the power to make Candace Owens show up here at all because she is a named defendant? That's personal jurisdiction, and it comes down to two flavors, general and specific. Let's start with general jurisdiction. That's the at-home rule. You can be sued there for almost anything, and for a person, that's basically their domicile. Owens is domiciled in Tennessee, not Delaware, so the Macrons almost certainly cannot get general jurisdiction over her in Delaware. That knocks out the sewer for anything here box and forces everyone into the second box, specific jurisdiction, which is case by case. So now the question changes. We're no longer asking, is Owens at home in Delaware? Instead, we're asking, did she create enough Delaware-based contacts tied to this case that it's fair to drag her into this particular lawsuit here? That's specific jurisdiction. Delaware's long-arm statute is the tool for that. It lets the court reach non-residents when the claims arise from business they do through Delaware entities or from torts that hit Delaware. The Macrons say that's exactly what happened here. Owens allegedly used two Delaware companies she manages to produce, publish, and monetize this defamatory content, including pushing it out through Delaware organized platforms and to Delaware listeners. In their view, this case arises from those Delaware contacts, so specific jurisdiction over Owens personally is fair game. Owens answers with this: my contacts are Tennessee based. I live in Tennessee. I record there. I own no property in Delaware. And just forming Delaware entities or running a website there is not enough. She's basically saying this: even if my companies are in Delaware, my alleged defamation is personal speech from Nashville, not Delaware focused conduct. The Macrones push back that Candace Owens LLC and George Tom Inc. exist to distribute and monetize her content, that she is their manager and primary decision maker, and that the alleged defamation is the core business of those Delaware entities. So, they argue, their claims arise from or relate to her forum-based business choices, satisfying specific jurisdiction.
So y'all can see how Candace's response to all this, because she's not an attorney, is absolutely garbage. Candace has said on X that the defamation occurred in Tennessee. She's not even denying it. She's saying, yeah, I defamed them in Tennessee. But what she failed to remember, because she's an idiot, is that she did it over an electronic means of communication on the internet, which is interstate. You can't say, I'm going to get on the internet, on a public platform, on social media, defame someone, and the only effect that it will have will be in the state of Tennessee. When you're talking about wireless electronic communication, which federal law has defined to be interstate communication, it crosses state lines. That's what's so, she doesn't, like, of course she doesn't understand that, because she's an idiot. You know what I said? I said, Candace, so you're at least admitting that you defamed them. I gotta find that they're going message, because she responded to, was it Melinda? One of you all had tagged me in it. And her response was like, oh, well, no, I defamed them though in Tennessee. And I responded back, so you're admitting that you defamed them. You can't make this up. I was flabbergasted. I started laughing, y'all. I said, this girl is an idiot. She's such a moron. I'm going to find that message. I am, Candace. You already admitted to defaming them. Saying, oh, well, I may have done it on the internet, but because I was located in Tennessee, it doesn't matter where you're located physically. It's how the communication was carried out. It was carried out on an electronic platform. Candace, I said, good grief, she can't be this dumb. She really is. I have never, oh my God. I was like, this girl really said this. And she was like, I'm not gonna, I should have snipped it. I was like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. I responded. I was like, oh, okay, thank you for confirming that you defamed them. Oh, dear Lord. My mind is still blown, y'all. Mine's still blown. How long ago was that? Can y'all let me know? Because I have to go straight to it. I haven't tagged at the very least. So I was like, this girl right here. Oh my God. She said, oh, but the defamation occurred in Tennessee. I said, okay. So I'm glad you admitting you defamed him. I'm gonna look for it. It wasn't that long ago. It happened this year. I'm still shocked. Candace, you did it on an internet platform. You did it on the internet. You use the internet. It's electronic communications. You understand? Electronic communications that crosses state lines. So you can't say, oh, no one in Delaware was affected by what I said on the internet. What do you mean? People in Delaware listen to you? So if they go into court and make that dumbass argument, they'll have to prove that only the people of Delaware, or only the people in Tennessee, rather, have been affected by this so-called defamation, or if they heard it, or somehow the Macrons, cannot be affected by the defamation because it was said in the state of Tennessee from her basement, even though it was done over an electronic means of communication. It wasn't like she wrote a letter down and then just put it across the table. They didn't come in person to her house to read the letter to see the defamation. No. She was like, how can they be defamed when I did it here in Tennessee and they're in France? Yeah, it's got to be it's the dumbest stuff ever. Oh, she's so screwed. Oh, Project Constitution catching it. Everybody catching it, y'all. Everybody catching it. Oh, you can't make this up. Candace, I'm looking for that comment right now on X.
Under both the long arm and Delaware's manager consent
We're going to find this.
At this stage of litigation, the judge can accept the Macron's allegations as true and reasonably find specific jurisdiction. Using Delaware entities as the vehicle to publish and monetize allegedly defamatory content is a strong hook for Delaware's consent to jurisdiction framework, even if Owens never set foot in Delaware. Owens' stronger play is timing. Delaware has a borrowing statute that sometimes uses another place's statute of limitations instead of Delaware's. The idea is this: if most of the injury happened somewhere else, you do not get a longer deadline just by filing in Delaware. Owens says the Macrons felt the biggest hit in France, politically and socially, so France's 3-month defamation period should apply and knock out a lot of claims. The Macrons say that rule doesn't either fit this case at all, or if it does, it should look at Tennessee's longer deadline instead, because that's where Owens was when she created and posted this content. In her reply, Owens tries to flip that and say the Macrons are basically admitting Tennessee is the proper forum. That's a stretch. Pointing to Tennessee for which deadline applies does not mean you've agreed Delaware courts cannot hear the case, especially when the speech was created in the United States using Delaware companies she chose. On forum nonconvenience, Owens argues France is the natural forum, French plaintiffs, alleged French harm, French witnesses, and that Delaware has almost nothing to do with
it. And the internet, once again, is international. God, YouTube is all over the world. And it wasn't just YouTube. X, Twitter, Instagram, pick one. Facebook, what else you got? Books, paywalls, merchandise. What the hell? Candace, you're screwed.
With her life compared to Tennessee. She's basically telling the judge this: this dispute belongs either in France or in her backyard, Tennessee, but not in a Delaware courtroom. But the actual acts Owens is being sued over, writing, recording, and uploading the content, happened in the United States through Delaware companies she chose. If the Macrons really refiled in France, Owens would almost certainly argue not just bias, but that venue is wrong because the conduct occurred in the United States. Realistically, she's trying to get out of Delaware and closer to Tennessee, but her Delaware entities make that much harder. Owens also goes after the amended complaint itself, arguing the Macrons smuggled in new, post-filing episodes without getting the court's permission first. Even if the judge agreed with her on that technical point, the usual fix in civil practice is not game over, it's leave to amend or file a proper supplemental complaint under the correct rule. That gives the court a very middle-of-the-road option: trim or repackage some later allegations, require the Macrons to replead them correctly, and still let the core defamation case move forward, instead of using this as a reason to kill the lawsuit outright. If the court denies outright dismissal or even orders a targeted jurisdictional discovery, Owens will likely have to produce operating agreements, internal communications, and revenue information. That could show how deliberately she used her Delaware entities to amplify or monetize these claims, which is exactly the story her motion seems designed to avoid. Here's my prediction. The court is more likely than not to find specific personal jurisdiction over Owens and her entities, and to keep the case in Delaware rather than to send it somewhere else. The real vulnerability is the limitations issue. Some claims may be trimmed as time barred, but a total win for Owens at the motion to dismiss stage is unlikely. If you found this video helpful, please hit like so more people see it. Before you go, tell me in the comments, should the Macrons have brought this fight in Delaware, or should this case be happening in France or Tennessee instead?
Follow the money.
Where do you think this case belongs and why? If someone you know follows Candace Owens or works in media, politics, or defamation law, send this video to them so they can see where the legal line really is. And if you want more breakdowns like this from a California attorney, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss them.
I love it. Y'all, we got to, okay, let's get to the next one. Oh, we got to do another one. Nicholas is breaking it down. Candace is so screwed. She's so screwed. She also went on other people's shows and said Macron is a man. Exactly. She has posted this stuff everywhere, all over the internet. All over the internet. Nicole in Ohio says Google's legal department and parent company is in Delaware. That's why she's being sued from there. Yeah, many reasons. Candace also has her LLCs there where she's making the money from the defamation. Because that's what they're saying. Listen, there are damages to be incurred here. You made money from this. And it came under this LLC that's registered in Delaware. You want to enjoy these tax breaks up here? You doing it in where you think is the bake. See, we don't know if she's in Tennessee. Candace is just saying that. Whether she's physically located in Tennessee or not is irrelevant. It is the method to which she has used to communicate the defamation. It wasn't like she wrote a letter and sent it through the mail or just put it in a mailbox in somebody's house. No, this was done on the internet. You can't just say the internet is limited to one state. You got it. Boy, this is something else. Candace, this is priceless. Candace making all this money from these LLCs registered in Delaware as well. So they have definitely have standing to sue in the state of Delaware, Candace. This is mind-boggling. Oh, Candace. Court is on April 28th, you heifer. Oh, man. Let's see here. You guys said he went over the cease and desist for Project Constitution. Where is that at? Oh, can they? Oh, man, TPUSA, y'all. I didn't get the chance to see this. He went over both TP, the one that TPUSA would sit the Wolves, and with to Candace. Let's see the one he said to Candace.
I'm Brooks, a California attorney. Today we're looking at Candace Owens, Turning Point USA, and a cease and desist letter tied to a non-disparagement clause in her speaking contract. Let's talk about what the letter actually does legally and what it does not. Everything I'm saying in this recording is based on public statements and reporting. Also, I've reviewed the transcripts from episodes 292, 294, and 295 of Candace's recent podcasts. I'm not claiming to know what really happened inside TPUSA. I'm explaining how a court could view Candace's words and the contract language she read. Just to orient you, episode 292 focuses on TPUSA's cease and desist letter to Wolves in Finance. Episode 294 is where she reads her own cease and desist letter. And episode 295 is where she talks about internal firings and TPUSA's response after the Charlie Kirk assassination. Here's the basic snapshot. For years, Candace had a paid speaking arrangement with TPUSA. After Charlie Kirk is publicly assassinated, that relationship unravels. By December 2nd, 2025, those agreements are treated as terminated, and TPUSA's lawyers send her a legal letter she then reads in episode 294. In that episode, she reads TPUSA's lawyer saying she has an ongoing contractual obligation not to make any disparaging, false, misleading, or otherwise defamatory comments about Turning Point USA and its employees, and that this obligation remains in effect for 12 months after her agreements were terminated on December 2nd, 2025. If you're not a lawyer, you might be thinking, once the contract is over, how can they still gag her? The answer is survival clauses. Some promises, like confidentiality or non-disparagement, are drafted to survive termination and keep binding you for a set period afterward. Candace does not really claim that this was invented after the fact. She tells her audience that in a contract like this, there's usually standard NDA language, and she says her lawyer pointed out, technically, you do have a non-disparagement clause for 12 months since the contract was officially terminated. She's acknowledging that obligation exists. She's questioning whether it should be enforced now. From TPUSA's side, there are two very different levers they could pull. One is contract. Did she breach a non-disparagement promise she was paid to make? The other is defamation. Did she publish false statements of fact that harm TPUSA or specific individuals? Those claims overlap in facts, but not in elements. For defamation, truth is a complete defense and opinion can be protected, especially on matters of public concern. For contract, it's harsher. If you sign a broad non-disparagement clause, even a true harsh criticism can be a breach if it's disparaging and within scope. In the letter, Candace reads, TPUSA's lawyer says her statements are causing substantial ongoing harm. The lawyer points to what she herself has called a flood of allegations against people at TPUSA, Turning Point Action, and staff connected to the Charlie Kirk show, and says she has continued despite reminders of the obligations TPUSA claims she has under that contract. To be clear, I'm quoting Candace and then analyzing the legal implications. First, she tells her audience there's definitely financial impropriety at the company. She says there are shady people at TPUSA. She says, I specifically said Tyler Boyer was a sexual deviant. I stand by that. It's the truth. And for someone who spends a lot of time calling out sexual deviants, it's ironic the only person she may have gagged here is herself by signing that clause. Candace also repeatedly says that because TPUSA is lying, she thinks it's reasonable to...
Candace, that sums it up right there. You gagged yourself, you moron, because you signed this. Is this why you kept asking to be put on TPUSA's payroll? Because you kind of figure, you know what? They already got a contract with me. I'm under an NDA. They might as well pay me to be their public relations person, and then I can speak for them and not for me. Is that why, Candace? Because, see, you think people don't figure you out, girl. No, I know you watching, Heifer. Let me tell you something, Candace. That NDA was for them to protect them as a company. You just because you want to be the CEO does not mean that they have to tolerate you dogging them out every 28 minutes of your day, because that's exactly what you're doing now. All you're doing is obsessing over TPUSA and Erica Kirk because you can't get her to be your girlfriend. We all know Candace want Erica Kirk to be her girlfriend. Candace, she's not stunning you. This is what we are, people. So it seems like Candace, having been under this NDA, knowing that she could easily be sued for defaming them with this NDA, wanted to be on their payroll so she can just say, okay, well, I'll speak for them, since if I try to speak against them, it might not work out in my favor, even though it's not. They're going to sue your ass anyway, Candace. Do you understand that, Karen? Cadence. Condoleezza. They're going to sue you either way because you falsely accused Erica Kirk of having some involvement in her own husband's assassination with no concrete evidence, which would be punishable with imprisonment. You know, because it's mighty funny how you failed to turn that evidence that you claim you have that's overwhelming, because Project Constitution is an idiot. You failed to turn all that overwhelming evidence over to a prosecutor or a detective. This is what we are. So she loops her cult members, you know, the candy asses, into a circle. At some point, Fort Huachuca gonna come back up because Mitch Snow out here doing another media run. Oh Lord. Yeah, I got the clip of him from that dang on interview he did. It's just a clip that another content creator did. I'm not watching that whole thing. There's no way I'm going to sit down and listen to Mitch Snow say anything else of value. He has nothing to say. After we've seen the videos of him breaking windows and hitting cars with golf clubs and stuff, scaring that woman half to death. And he never brings receipts of any sort. And if Joe Kent vetted him, I mean, honestly, Joe Kent was with the FBI. I guess that was Candace's connection. She said she had a connection to the FBI. That was her source. So I wouldn't be shocked if he were. It's just funny how the candy asses was fed that fed slop and didn't even know it, you know, because her source was in the FBI. So yeah, Joe Kent vetting Mitch Snow is mighty funny to me because the candy asses still ended up with fed slop from Joe Kent. Oh, sloppy Joe Kent. You can't make this up. This is crazy. They're gonna sue her into oblivion after the Macrons win. This is crazy. You signed this NDA and you wanted them to put you on the payroll for public relations so that you can go out and speak for them while you tear them down. You really think they will have you on their PR? You out here dogging them out, dogging out Erica Kirk because you like her. And you think they're supposed to pay you to all of a sudden go out here and try to make them look good? The hell? Candace. Even the devil's probably laughing at you on that one. And since you know what a demon squealing sounds like, I'm sure you can hear him laughing at you. That's got to be some evil stuff to say something like that, by the way. So she signs this NDA. And they're gonna hit her. They don't have to wait until any criminal matter is resolved in court. You disparage TPUSA overall and their CEO now, which is Erica Kirk. Candace, he didn't pick you. Charlie Kirk did not pick you. The end. He didn't pick you. And good for him. He didn't. He saw your con nonsense a mile away. I wish Dave Rubin would have opened up and saw this a lot sooner. Look how long it's taking people to see stuff. That's so easy to everybody else. Candace is a piece of crap. And when she doesn't get her way, she's going to lie like hell on you and make millions of dollars doing it and present no evidence at all. Candace, if you have anything to prove that Erica Kirk had any involvement with any assassination, why don't you turn it over to the prosecutor's office again? Why don't you give that to the investigators again? Why aren't you handing them that information? Why don't you show us evidence that you've turned over your overwhelming evidence to the prosecutor's office in the state of Utah? That's what we want to see. Candace Owens should be turning over evidence to the prosecutors in the state of Utah. Because Project Constitution said there's overwhelming evidence. You see how this stuff can be used against them in the court of law? You're talking about something that would result in Erica Kirk going to prison. Why not turn over that evidence again? Why are you holding on to it, Candace? As a matter of fact, why not post it up? That's how dumb she is. And the candy asses are falling for it every day. She's got evidence and proof, but yet Erica Kirk is still a free woman. Go figure.
Conclude the organization is engaged in the cover-up around Charlie's assassination. Under the contract language she read, that kind of accusation is plainly disparaging, and it directly hits the assassination-related restrictions TPUSA's lawyer highlighted. Under the contract language, those are clearly disparaging comments about covered people and programs. Under defamation, the questions are different. Are these specific, provably false factual allegations, or are they opinion and rhetoric based on disclosed facts? The same sentence can have very different consequences in each lane. In terms of timing, the letter describes an ongoing contractual obligation and then says that obligation remains in effect for 12 months after her agreement's term, which TPUSA says ended December 2nd, 2025. That's TPUSA's way of saying this duty existed then and continues through December 2026. On her show, Candace tells viewers that the speaking agreement was still in effect when Charlie was assassinated and that it was then terminated, even though it was supposed to run for a few more years. But she and TPUSA's lawyer now treat the contract as ending on December 2nd, 2025. What really matters for this video is that the lawyer says her non-disparagement obligation survives that termination and continues for 12 months afterward. So the statements she's making now are being judged against a post-termination promise. Candace responds by framing what is essentially an unconscionability and public policy argument. She characterizes Charlie Kirk's public assassination as an unforeseeable circumstance and contends that enforcing a private gag clause to keep her silent in its aftermath would be unconscionable. She goes so far as to say TPUSA would have a better chance suing the Sun than preventing her from continuing to investigate what happened. Now, there are real doctrines around unconscionability and public policy. A court could refuse to enforce a gag that blocks speech about a politically significant assassination, while still enforcing the same clause against separate accusations about donors, finances, or employment. Across episodes 292, 294, and 295, Candace returns to the same themes. She highlights the Wolves in Finance cease and desist letter, repeats that there is definitely financial impropriety at TPUSA, and describes the organization's post-assassination firings and donor activity as legal, but also immoral and cult-like. From a contract perspective, that matters because the clause that Candace read does not just cover the TPUSA brand. It extends to employees, agents, programs, and services. TPUSA's lawyers could argue that these episodes together show continuing disparagement within the 12-month survival period, supporting a theory of ongoing, not isolated, breach of contract. Defamation would sit on top of all of this as a separate tort theory, focused on whether specific statements are provably false facts that caused harm rather than opinion or hyperbole. If you were my client in Candace's position, I'd say, assume the non-disparagement clause is live through December 2026. Assume TPUSA's lawyers will spotlight your sharpest quotes from these episodes and be very intentional about which ones you actually want to keep on the record. If you found this video helpful, please hit like so more people see it. Before you go, tell me in the comments, where would you draw the line between a valid non-disparagement clause and an overbroad gag when someone is talking about finances, firings, and an assassination in the same breath? If someone you know follows Candace Owens or works in conservative media or donor politics, send this video to them so they can see where the legal line really is. And if you want more breakdowns like this from a California attorney, subscribe.
This is awesome. Candace. So not only is TPUSA and Erica Kirk able to sue the crap out of you, the McCrow's gonna mollywop you. And Project Constitution, Wolves in Finance, all of them are gonna catch it as well. I just hope that Erica Kirk adds George to the lawsuit. They need to add George to it. Y'all, what did he say about TPUSA and Wolves in Finance? Oh my God, I see
Turning Point USA.
This is something else. This is why you don't sit here and go simping out hard for Candace. For what? Project Constitution losing his mind over here on Twitter, on X. Losing his mind. Trying to tag everybody and their mama, hoping that it'll get him some help with legal fees. Can you believe it? What Project Constitution? What's his real name? What's his name? What's the boy name? What's Project Constitution's real name? What's his name? I don't want to say Colin. What's his name? Oh my God, y'all! This is something else. he coming in with some nonsense. He over here screaming for help, y'all, on X. Hey, Gabs, how you doing? How she will lose and we'll have to pay them $200 million. What's the boy's name over there on our project? What's his real name? Colin. There you go. Y'all. Colin. Colin tagging everybody and their mama. You can't make this up. I'm dead. He pulling the Wolves in Finance. It's the same thing Wolves in Finance did. Oh, can you all help me by, subscribing or getting a membership or something? They're trying to take me to court. I'm just a small content creator and an accountant. Wolves in Finance out here lying like hell, saying that people are stealing money, misappropriated funds because he didn't understand how, certain subsidiaries operated or worked at all. I mean, he has no idea what an endowment is or the, definition or what it's designed to do. Talking about, I don't think is good. They should be ethically investing in the stock market. That's what an endowment is designed for. to invest and then to use the ROI from your investments to redistribute back to your 501c3 to help cover expenses. So you're spending what you've generated from the investment, not the actual principal. You would think an accountant would know the difference between an ROI and a principal. He doesn't. Wolves in Finance knows nothing. Like Jon Snow, he knows nothing. Y'all be so proud of me. I watched the whole summary on Game of Thrones. I haven't seen the shows. I just watched like a breakdown summary, and it went over all the seasons. I was good with that. I was like, oh, dragons and fire breathing and White Walkers. Oh my, you can't make this up. That is just, I mean, at the end of the day, college got it coming. Wolves of Finance got it coming. You know, keep on over there on X if y'all want to, thinking you big and bad when you don't know the law and you have not been to law school. Keep on. Colin thinks he's an attorney. Now he's asking for one because he realizes this is not going to be as easy as I thought. It is absolutely ridiculous. Colin kick rocks. All right, y'all, let's check this out.
A California litigation attorney. And today we're asking whether Turning Point USA could actually win a defamation lawsuit against Wolves in Finance. TPUSA, a big political nonprofit, just sent a 4-page demand over YouTube videos. We'll walk through defamation and Arizona's anti-SLAPP statute, then pressure test this case. Zach DeGregorio runs Wolves in Finance, a channel where a working accountant pulls public filings and explains how money appears to move inside powerful organizations. He's built quite an audience by turning dry Form 990s into understandable, dramatic financial stories. Before YouTube, Zach was CFO of the New Mexico Spaceport Authority. In 2022, he filed a whistleblower lawsuit alleging serious financial misconduct by state officials over Spaceport America funding, and he says his complaints helped trigger investigations and leadership changes. Supporters of Zach point to that history as evidence that he can read complex government numbers and is willing to challenge powerful institutions. Turning Point, if it litigates, is likely to say it shows he gravitates toward big fraud narratives and prefers being at the center of high-stakes allegations against large entities because that's become part of his persona. So, on January 8th, Turning Point's lawyer sent Zach a 4-page demand to cease and desist defamatory comments letter, basically the classic first step toward a defamation lawsuit. It cites Arizona cases, calls many of his statements demonstrably false, and says they've caused serious reputational harm and even threats to Turning Point staff. The letter points to Zach's videos after Charlie Kirk's assassination, saying he used titles like "Did Turning Point USA commit fraud?" and "More fraud at Turning Point USA." Also talked about ghost employees, questioned a $650,000 transfer, referenced shell entities, and raised bribe questions. The letter somewhat reads like a lawsuit in draft form. It identifies specific statements, asserts reputational injury, and includes a broad evidence preservation demand. Legally, it does not just complain about old videos. It's designed to put Zach on clear notice so any similar future statements look reckless if Turning Point later has to prove actual malice in court. Zach, in turn, wants this to look like David versus Goliath, a small YouTube accountant reading public records versus a well-funded political nonprofit with lawyers and donors. That underdog framing helps his audience see any lawsuit as a way to silence a critic rather than to fix falsehoods. In his recent response video, Zach reads the letter on air, walks through Turning Point's complaints, mocks parts of their wording, and says he's glad to correct any factual errors. At the same time, he signals he'll keep covering them, asks viewers to help him find an Arizona defamation lawyer, and even asks his audience to help fund potential legal fees if this turns into a lawsuit. In court, Turning Point must show Zach made provably false statements of fact, that he published them, and that they harmed its reputation. Because TPUSA includes public figure players, they must also prove actual malice, that Zach either knew what he was saying to be false or seriously doubted it was true at the time he said it. The core fight is over facts versus opinions. Turning Point will highlight firm-sounding lines such as more fraud, bribes, ghost employees as false factual accusations. Zach, on the other hand, will say he showed the 990s on screen, added caveats about no proof of crime, and was giving interpretations, not insider facts. Courts care about tone. Insults like clowns of the year or calling their structure a shell game sounds like rhetorical hyperbole or colorful opinion. Statements that sound like Turning Point did commit fraud or this payment was a bribe look more like concrete factual claims a jury can test. Turning Point will focus on how words like fraud, bribe, and ghost employees land with normal viewers. Those terms usually suggest criminal level misconduct, not just sloppy management. So they'll argue Zach's language tells people, in substance, these folks are doing crimes. TPUSA's best lane is to narrow the case to a few concrete statements, such as the more fraud framing, any unqualified claims that money was a bribe, and firm statements that Turning Point had ghost employees. They'll match those against their explanations about 990 errors, reimbursement, and a legitimate marketing vendor. Some clashes here are mostly spin, like calling multiple related nonprofits a shell game when money is moving between disclosed Turning Point entities. But other wording is not trivial. Changing a Doge effort into a Doge audit matters because audit suggests outside investigation in a way effort does not. Zach's defense will be that he's a watchdog commentator. He'll say he relies on public records, shows documents on screen, quotes Turning Point's own letter, corrects when new forms appear, and repeatedly tells viewers he has no evidence of a crime but sees financial red flags. In his recent video, Zach keeps repeating, I do not understand this letter, and I don't understand what Erica is doing. But this is a former government CFO who walks through complex tax filings and headcounts in detail. It's hard to believe he truly does not understand. I don't understand works as a performance that lets him say, this is so bad it makes no sense, while softening how aggressive his accusations sound. Ultimately, Arizona's anti-SLAPP law lets defendants attack lawsuits aimed at speech about public issues. In simple terms, you can tell the judge early, this case is really about shutting me up, and if the judge agrees, the suit can be tossed quickly and the plaintiff may have to pay your fees. If Turning Point files in Arizona, Zach can argue his videos are commentary on political nonprofits' finances, a classic public concern topic. A judge who sees the case as punishing criticism instead of fixing clear lies could kill it at the anti-SLAPP stage and order Turning Point to pay his lawyers. It must be noted from a litigator's perspective, Zach is building their trial exhibits for them. Once you've been put on notice, every new video, every they're threatening to sue me riff, every fundraising pitch becomes a party admission and potential actual malice evidence. This is why lawyers tell clients not to keep doing commentary about their own potential lawsuit unless they're comfortable watching those clips played back to a jury. Overall, Turning Point has a narrow path. Focus on a few concrete statements such as more fraud, bribes, ghost employees, and argue Zach ignored their explanations after notice. With public figure rules and Arizona's anti-SLAPP protection, the odds still tilt slightly towards Zach, either cutting off a broad suit early or, if a narrower claim gets past the first motions, having enough First Amendment and opinion defenses to make litigation risky and expensive for Turning Point, especially if he tightens his wording with counsel going forward. If you found this video helpful, please hit like so more people see it. Before you go, tell me in the comments whether a Turning Point lawsuit here would be legitimate reputational protection or political warfare against a critic.
Well, finance, you might want to hear it and get you an attorney. Oh man, I hope they just sue all of them at one time. They got it coming. Yeah, they got it coming. I'm trying to find this comment, y'all. She said something else. Oh, I'm like literally digging. Did it go? Was it? Did Amy tag me in this? Y'all, I'm telling you all right now. This girl literally said the defamation occurred in Tennessee. I'm like, so you're admitting to it, you moron. I couldn't believe it. Oh, hold on. I've been I've been looking for this as well, back and forth, going through. Who knew? Like, what's easier to search through X? It would be this difficult. Hold on. Oh, good grief. Because she actually responded with me tagged in it. I couldn't believe it. And she was so mad. I'm gonna find this thing on message, y'all. Okay, I think we can get one more in, and then I'm gonna switch over and go live with Candace. Because man, Candace, court is gonna be fun for us. It's gonna be so fun. You all say he went over the Project Constitution on Jay Witt. Hold on. When did he go on Jay Witt? Lord have mercy. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. We'll watch and see what he said. Okay. Is this one? Jay Witt, child, he got what's all this stuff up here? What he doing? That ain't it. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, let's see. They go over
special.
Okay, so they go over this. Oh man, did he do a video? This one is an hour long. I get what's the overall goal in this? Let me see. Is Nicholas gonna do his own video? Y'all, this is an hour. I'm just wondering, like, what Project Constitution's been lying from day one, posting up nonsense over here on X. Hold on. Let me just see if I can grab some of this.
Executive privilege, and then I'd be like, damn, that's a good objection. What am I gonna do about that one? I'd love it. I'd hang it. Really, what the attorney's doing here is just dates, names, statements. You really want to hammer that down, and you don't want to leave anything to, that's not a true statement of fact. So that just good drafting by the attorney here, did their job sufficiently, and it should put Campbell on notice of, the different statements he's made. I guess one point I'd like to bring up is, I saw at the beginning of the letter, I think it was at the beginning, the attorneys for Erica mentioned about issuing an apology for, right there at the first paragraph, issue a full apology and cease and desist for making these or similar false and damaging statements in the future. And, you can, hey, as a part of that, why not, put in the full apology? I don't think it's enforceable. You can't,
right.
So it's just something of, Erica Kirk might not bring a lawsuit if he complies with these demands.
Right.
And so that's just an informal negotiating settlement tactic, I guess one could take on.
And,
and why wouldn't he do that? Because that would be easy, right? Just to say, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot, and I have no overwhelming evidence to ever accuse Erica Kirk of, plotting, planning, or having any intention on plotting or planning to be a part of any assassination of her own husband. I have no evidence to prove any of that. Because they could prove that to be false. This is crazy. Like, all he has to do is issue an apology. I think they're trying to be nice. And for me personally, I don't feel like Erica Kirk has to keep doing this, because the reason why you send a cease and desist is to let people know you're already defaming me. You're not trying to give them a heads up that you're crossing the boundaries of it. No, they've given clear examples of defamation, period. So it's not as if they have not already defamed them. No, they've already done it. Project Constitution has already defamed Erica Kirk and TPUSA. This letter is to let them know to stop damn doing it, or we're suing you because you've already done the defamation. Now, they can retract it and issue an apology, which he's not going to do because he's already given his response. He's an idiot, and he thinks that he can just get to the discovery process where he believes that they're supposed to prove him right because he's a moron. That's not how that works. Their burden would be to prove that he lied and that the statements are false because there is an absence of evidence. And you're talking about evidence that in any court of law would have to meet a burden of beyond a reasonable doubt because you're accusing her of a crime. And he would not be able to prove that in this lawsuit, that what he said was the truth and that his so-called overwhelming evidence would support his allegations that she was involved in her husband's assassination. He won't even be able to meet a burden in a civil matter, let alone a criminal one. But their job is not to go in and prove him right. Their job is to go in and prove he lied, to prove him wrong. And if he doesn't have evidence, that's their burden met. It's the absence of it. It's the lack of the evidence that would help Erica and TPUSA meet her burden. See, this is what happens when you don't go to law school and know the law, and then you think going to court, the petitioner is going in to help prove your case. No. Your defense is what I said was, because I'm a journalist of blah, 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 whatever he thinks he is. But I made these statements reporting information. Well, then you have to prove that the statements you made were based on an opinion, because the facts that you claimed, the affirmative allegations, you said you had overwhelming evidence to prove. Project Constitution, Colin, you said you had overwhelming evidence. And if Candace has it, why don't you just get it from her? Because you're going to need it. He screwed up. He said it was a fact. He said it was a fact that she had something to do with it. He said this several times on X. Once you are no longer giving your opinion, once you are no longer giving commentary and reporting and disseminating information, and you start stating that it is a fact that this has occurred, you've crossed beyond what the First Amendment protects you from, even as a journalist. You don't get to say it's a fact and then hide underneath freedom of the press. That's not how that works. Nope. We're supposed to maintain integrity as independent journalists as well. I'm not going to say that it's a fact if I don't have evidence to prove it. Now, based on the way Candace, Karen is acting here, my question to her would be, how much did you pay Tyler Robinson to do the deed, Candace? I'm going to leave that to your interpretation, Heifer. Because you're trying to get him off. You're trying to taint the jury. You're trying to invoke reasonable doubt based on what you said. It's just my opinion in that, and that's how I feel about it. That's how I'm interpreting based on what the statements you've made. It's like you want to get him off. You want him to walk away. You don't want him to go to prison, for murder that he admitted to. But how he admitted to it, and Candace is the one sitting here talking about, I don't think he pulled the trigger on the gun. And he's like, I did it. Like they don't need to wait until the criminal matter is completed. But she's not going to be the only person they sue. And I think what they're trying to do is say, okay, we're going to cover the bases. We have the cease and desist letters we want to send out. We have enough evidence of statements that were made that are categorically false. They have zero evidence because, like I said, if Candace had evidence, She would have given it to the prosecutor, to any detective. You know, what about Joe Kent? I mean, why are they still asking questions at this point? If, according to Colin at Project Constitution with his dumbass, they have overwhelming evidence, then why are you still asking what happened? You see how Candace, this is not going to go well in your favor. You have these morons thinking that getting to the discovery phase is going to be, so exuberant. No. Colin is already now begging and crying out to everybody and their mama to help him with attorney's fees because he realized, I don't think it's going to be as easy as I thought it was going to be. Never mind. Project Constitution is a dumbass. That's how I feel. Is my opinion. You can take it how you want. Project Constitution. I don't care how you take it. You're an idiot. The end. And the fact that he wants to see him go to court against all the documentation, the statements, the evidence, a post, whatever else he's done. I don't know if he has a channel, but good grief. Against all that overwhelming evidence that TPUSA and Eric Kirk has on his behind, he wants to go to court and gets to the discovery phase. You can't get to the discovery phase if you're deleting your posts and you're taking it down. You're not preserving it. You understand? You got to aid in that endeavor. He has no idea that discovery is an exchange of documentation. Oh, Lord have mercy. You can't make this up. Oh, he got it coming, y'all. Oh, he got it coming. All right, y'all. We got an hour in. I think that's all we're gonna go over for Nicholas. Hopefully we can have him back on and he can kind of, get us prepared for April 28th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Candace, go to court. If you have nothing to fear, you're not afraid of anything, take your ass to court, girl. I know you listening, Huffle. Go to court. Stop pushing this back. Tell your attorney, stop asking for extensions. It's pathetic. It's 3 of them. They can't come up with words to send a response or a reply. Kick rocks. They're not good attorneys. If they need extensions every single time, they got to do a reply or response. This stuff will never end. Tell them to stop wasting time, go to court, and let's get this thing going. Can't make this up. Shout out to Nicholas Brooks, you all. I'm going to start another live, and we're going to get into this Candace stuff. We got a letter to read. They're trying to kick out of the Catholic Church. Woo, child, it's going to be good. So y'all tune in if you can. Give me like 3-4 minutes to set it up, and we're going to get right into it, y'all. All right, so thank y'all so much. Hit the like button, and I will see you all over in the next live on Candace because we gonna dig in it. All right, see y'all then. Deuces.